So it turns out Sony is actually going through with buying out From Software. Now we've entered this odd situation in gaming where companies are now acquiring studios, grabbing up, small, well, From Software is not small, but just studios in general, and this is what Microsoft is doing. And they're still somehow managing not to make any fucking games. They're like, okay, they have yet another Call of Duty coming out, maybe a couple other little small fucking projects, but they shut down more studios than actually, you know, keep. EA's done this in the past, and everyone shits on EA for doing this. But now Sony seems to be doing the same thing. Like I know Concord was, one of I'd say the biggest failures for Sony. Like 400 million down the drain, and they acquired Firewalk Studios, and then they ended up shutting that studio down. And it's like, okay, someone must have been given a lot of money. Like, so someone must have profited from this. Because that seems to be the point, is maybe the CEO or maybe the small board that was on Firewalk made money, but everyone else didn't. The developers didn't. The people that actually has their hands on the product didn't make the money. And it's interesting because this situation, right? And I'm gonna blame Xbox. Like, I should be shitting on Sony, but Sony's doing exactly what the fuck they need to do. Granted, it's anti-consumer, it's anti-gamer. Having just, one legitimate gaming company have control over all other games and all other entertainment is a bad thing, because it's why they're charging $700 fucking dollars for their new PlayStation that doesn't even have a disc drive, and they don't even have any goddamn any exclusives for it, so there's no reason to really buy it. But if Xbox would actually try to compete, they wouldn't have been bought up by Microsoft. And I guess Microsoft is kind of trying to compete, but we live in this odd age where companies don't try to compete anymore. Like, they just pretend each other don't exist. In fact, they kind of do the same artistic decisions, the same moderation decisions across the board. It's like if every company is the same and none of them strives to be anything different, then I mean it's effectively a monopoly, right? I mean, we're not getting better games coming out of Sony. Most of the Sony games were made by other companies, but at using Sony as a platform to sell them, like Helldivers and Stellar Blade. But you can't say it was like Sony tried to fuck with Helldivers, but and I mean, to be fair, Helldivers did have a rocky start, but now people are actually coming back. And you had Stellar Blade, which again, Sony, I don't know if it was Sony or I think it was Sony that tried to enforce their censorship on the Stellar Blade, only to have it fail. But now Sony getting From Software, like we still have the games, but you gotta understand Sony's the reason why you're never getting another Bloodborne anything. It's the fucking fans that are making the PC port that's not locked at 30 frames a second. So it's clear they don't care for good products. In fact, they actively fuck with good games for some reason. And I don't know what they're doing. Like, well, okay, are they doing anything with God of War? We don't know. Right? Astrobot was fine. I mean, people really liked that game. But like, let's really think about what Sony properties, and they themselves say they have no decent IPs to pull from, except all the older IPs. But no one wants to see remakes. No one wants to see remasters. No one wants to see prequels and sequels. And I think Sony kind of knows this. I mean, Microsoft tries to release yet another Call of Duty, and then they, well, what was that game? I can't think of it. Where the bitch is fighting cyber dinosaurs. I think her name is Aoli or some shit. I can't remember the name because they really try pushing that game, but I personally just don't care. I mean, it made a lot of money, but at the end of the day, was it a good game? I don't know. They really try to push that. And again, if Xbox would have competed, we wouldn't be in this situation. But Xbox just stopped competing with Sony with their console. They wanted their console to be sold to like moms. And unfortunately, moms don't play games, or maybe they do, but not at the rate that young adolescent men play gamers play games. So they should have kept selling it as a game console, but they chose not to. And when companies refuse to compete, you don't get a better product. What you get are these massive conglomerates buying up studios, buying up IPs, and doing that and just squatting on them. In some cases, they do absolutely nothing with the IPs, so they shelve them. And this is why, again, what you have situations like Black Myth Wukong coming literally out of nowhere, and people just buy it just out of principle. Like, a lot of people play new games and play original IPs just out of straight principle and think it's good. Like, maybe it's not because the game itself is good, right? Maybe it's just people are sick and tired of this gaming culture of just shoving out prequels and sequels and remakes and remasters that no one really asked for. And it's like, what does this mean in the future from software? I don't know. Like, imagine having an Elden Ring 2. Imagine they'll probably release maybe an Armored Core. What you have with Microsoft is they acquire these studios and they probably make one product from each of these studios every couple of years because no one competes or even really tries. And because of that, it's like, oh well, you can only have what we will allow you to have. I guess Call of Duty does have a fan base. I have the fucking hiccups. I have no drinks around me, so get over it. But this is just bad in particular because From Software release has a dedicated fan base that will buy every single, not only From Software game, but every single Souls-like game. I think this contributed to the success of Black Myth Wukong, even though it's not a Souls-like. It's more Souls inspired. But this did contribute to the success of Stellar Blade. Because I think a lot of people treated it kind of like a Souls-like, or at least it had somewhat the form. So what to take away from all this? Well, you're going to see more of this. You're going to see more big entertainment, big gaming company conglomerates like Microsoft and Sony just buying up possible competitors, possibly from other nations, that are popular, and getting them under the wing and not doing anything better, because I'm not mistaken, right? Doesn't Katakawa have like animation studios under their wing? Doesn't From Software have like certain studios under its wings? And I know Crunchyroll is now trying to, buy up other anime studios. And again, this is just something you will see in entertainment. You'll see massive conglomerates that just buy up smaller, good entertainment studios and good entertainment as a whole, and just, I guess, sucking them in like fucking Kirby. And I don't know, maybe PlayStation will let From Software do their own thing. Maybe not. On principle, I fucking hate Sony. But we'll see. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have, the globe to see the future. So it's really just whatever. But that's all I gotta say about this. Peace.